Be quiet. Stop making noise out there. I think I shaved just a little piece off him. Alright, you hang tight. I gotta reload. And I gotta go get that 2 pounds of deer meat. Good afternoon. My name is Tom. I come to you from the great state of Maine. You guys know the routine. Have yourself a sip of coffee. If you can't tell, it's supper time. It's supper time. I just got back from out in the boat. Great day of fishing. Caught some salmon. Looking for some lake trout. I didn't get lucky enough for a big old lake trout today, but hey, there's always tomorrow. But anyways, I've been eating salmon all week, so I kind of wanted something different tonight. So I was looking through the Papa's cookbook here, and I came across a deer meat stew. Or a deer meat soup, whatever you want to call it. All depends on how thick you want to make it. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of soup tonight. Maybe I'll have a sandwich and a soup for supper. That's the thing about being free here in the state of Maine. I can make my own decision to what I want for supper. But I got a problem. Problem is, I don't have a deer. Well, I got a pot. This is different. You're going to want to stick around for this. This is back in the old Maine. I can guarantee it. This is what's called a pressure cooker, not a pressure canner. They're two different animals. So I got everything out here. So now I just need a deer. So I guess before I can cook supper, I need to find a deer. Just so happens I got a 44 Magnum here. So we're going to load this thing up. And I got about an hour between now and dark. Oh, you say it's not deer season? Well, I won't tell anybody if you don't. I only want a couple steaks. Or a roast. It's a roast I need to put in there, so we'll see if I can do some fancy shooting and shoot me a roast. Don't you think that'd be a good idea? My recipe book over here only says a couple pounds. Well, I think if I work it just right, I think I can shave a couple pounds off a small dough easily. This right here says 2 pounds of bear meat or deer meat. Now I gotta cut everything in half because it's only me here eating tonight. I'm just making one pot meal because I want to eat it all up tonight, and then maybe tomorrow night we'll have a salmon over the campfire. So it says we got to have some potatoes. Yeah, put in how many people you're feeding. It says 2 onions, so I'm going to put in 1 onion. It says 6 good carrots, so I'm going to put in 4 good carrots. Now, you can have a can of beef broth if you got some. I don't have any. So I got to go to the next best thing. Next to the beef broth is this Lipton onion soup mix. That makes a really good broth. And that's always here at the cabin. I got a gallon jug back here that I keep a couple of boxes in all the time because it works in a lot of different meals. So keep that in mind. It says a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. That's always good. Salt to taste. Pepper to taste. Now it's a little different cooking here because you can't just drop that deer in there when we go get him finally. When I go get that deer, I need to drop him in there for about 20 minutes by itself. Because if you throw the meat in there, and you throw the potatoes in there, and you throw the carrots in there, the potatoes will be nothing. By the time you're ready to eat your potatoes and they've pressure cooked in there, as long as that meat's gonna cook, because you want that meat falling apart. You want it nice and tender. And that's what these things are really good for. You can take the nastiest cut of deer meat that there is on the deer, which is usually the calf muscle, and you can throw that in one of these pressure cookers and it'll tender. You can cut it with a butter knife. You can cut it with a dull deer knife after skinning 5 deer. Anyways, so I gotta go get that deer. So hey, you guys hang tight. I'm gonna take a quick walk around this cabin and see what we come up with. But you know, if I'm quiet and I sit here just for a few minutes, I might not have to take that walk at all, because this is Maine, and you know, you never know. You never know. Be quiet. Stop making noise out there. I think I shaved just a little piece off him. All right, you hang tight. I gotta reload, and I gotta go get that 2 pounds of deer meat. Okay. Alrighty, I'm back. No thanks to you guys. I ain't never heard so much noise in the background ever on any one of my deer hunts, ever. Even when I bring the grandkids out, they weren't half as noisy as you guys were. So with no thanks to you guys, I was able to manage to skillfully and carefully shave 2 pounds of roast off the side of that dough. Now, I don't recommend that to too many people that haven't shot much, because you really do got to be careful. Otherwise than that, you'll kill it. And if you kill it, it's out of season. You can't deer hunt this time of year. So the last thing you want to do is kill that deer. All you want is 2 pounds of deer meat. And if you're an old-time Mainer, you know exactly how to do that. So anyways, I walked down to where the deer was. It was straight out in front of the cabin, just behind the rhubarb and around the big rock and behind the big oak. Laying there, laying there. The roast was laying right there on the ground, not the deer. The deer got up and run off. So, and that's just the way I found it. It was 2 pounds, perfect. It'll fit right in that pot nicely. Now, if you're not practicing that kind of deer hunting, I say you ought to dig in a little deeper and take your craft a little more serious. That way you too can have fresh deer meat throughout the summer without hunting out of season. So, but anyways, time for a tall cup of coffee and time to get going cooking this meal. Thank goodness that deer walked by when she did. my rhubarb over there is doing really nice. I got several recipes. I got rhubarb cookies, I got rhubarb cake, I've got rhubarb pie, rhubarb jam, all kinds of rhubarb recipes. Because I love the plant rhubarb. It grows by itself. And it grows all summer. And it's just one of them great things to have around. So, anyways, I don't know how we got over there, but I got to get cooking on my supper. I want to get this done while it's still daylight. Now, if you're not familiar with a pressure canner or a pressure cooker, this is a pressure cooker. Don't try to can vegetables in a pressure cooker. First thing you want to always check on these things, make sure that vent hole is not clogged. Now, I blow through it. And on the big one, you can even look through it if you want. You can even look through that hole. You just got to make sure that hole is clear. Make sure, look at this. This is another, there's 3 ways of this thing can, they don't explode like they used to back in the 60s. There's 3 methods on here. One is make sure that vent is clear. If it builds up too much pressure, this plug will blow out. And also, I believe, maybe not on these, I know on the pressure canners, this rubber will even blow out if everything becomes clogged. So that's the only safety tip there for that. You know, keep that stuff in mind. And don't cook beans in it, don't cook rice in it. Anything that swells up, don't cook in there. But for this meat, this is I always save the really, most people would turn that into hamburger. I turn it in, I save all that for my roast for these meals right here. And we'll put all you do is drop it in there. Just like that. And the longer you leave it in there, the tender it'll be. So this whole meal, and the other thing about this is a meal like this would normally take you a couple of hours of cooking on a regular stove with a regular pot or a Dutch oven on your wood stove or whatever, because you need to cook it enough where that meat tenderizes itself. I don't use tenderizers. I think what they're doing to that meat, what would they be doing to you? So I don't use meat tenderizers at all. So then there's a line in there. Fill it up to that line. There's actually 2. Never fill the pot higher than the second line. And that means with water as well as the vegetables. And at this point, all you're putting in there is the, I forgot to get the salt and pepper. I'm going to throw some salt in here right now. But that's all you're putting in right now is just the meat and some salt. I'm just putting in that much salt. I didn't feel like bringing out the big one. Now I am going to throw in just a splash of Worcestershire sauce at this time. Just for the fun of it, and I'll add some more towards the other end. So right now that's ready to go. The other thing that I do, now you can use oil, you can use margarine, is this right here is the gasket. I like to just grease, not really grease up, but I like to get a thin coat of oil on my gasket. And I do the same thing when I'm pressure cooking or pressure canning. Then it keeps it from sticking sometimes. Sometimes it does want to stick. So now all you do is you put this on here. You gotta line up. See them teeth? Hard to line up them teeth and get you guys in the picture too. There. I just noticed that the last take of this pot, you guys couldn't even see it. So here we are again. How's that? I want to just go over a couple things. When you put this lid on here, it locks. There's another, this is a lock button over here. When it comes up to pressure, this lock button will pop up. And from that point, this lid is locked, can't take it off. Never, ever, ever take a lid off a pressure cooker or a pressure canner while it is under pressure. This right here is this is a 15-pound weight. That's what'll bring this pot up to 15 pounds. This right here is a pressure relief emergency button. If this thing goes over 15 pounds because of clog, like I showed you earlier on the lid, it's right there. This thing needs to be steaming. If this stops steaming and the pressure keeps building, that plug will blow, and then that will release the pressure that's inside of the pot. And when we're all finished, we started early, about 20 minutes from now, actually, the meat is in there now. You wait until the water is boiling, steaming, and comes up to pressure. This thing will, when this button pops, it's up to pressure. From that point, you start your timer, and then I'm going to time this meat for about 20 minutes by itself, and then I'll be putting the carrots, onions, and potatoes into the pot. And then we'll go over when it does come up to pressure and we want to take it down so we can load up with this other stuff. Then I will show you how I do that, and that way you'll have a pretty good idea. This is a stainless steel pressure cooker, and I recommend, if you do want to get into this kind of cooking, at camp it's fast. It'll take rabbit meat, it'll take anything and turn it into, you can cut it with a butter knife. But I would recommend getting a stainless steel one instead of an aluminum one. They will cost you a little bit of money, but they say aluminum is not good for your brain. So years ago I got rid of all of the aluminum pressure cookers that I had and switched over. This is a 4-quart. I have an 8-quart. If I got a crowd here, I have an 8-quart pressure cooker for when there's guests at the cabin. We just put together a fast meal, and to me, this is a perfect meal. I mean, it's just, it's fairly quick. The whole thing will probably take about 30 minutes, and you don't have to touch it. It's a 1-pot meal. Then you just sit down and start eating. So, well, it's coffee time. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Just wanted to show you what's going on. This right here is the pressure lock button. You can see that's come up to pressure. So now this thing is locked. This hasn't started to whistle yet. In a minute, this thing will start to shiver and shake. So I just thought I'd bring you in. See, she's starting to come up to pressure. Now it's just building up. It's 15 pounds of pressure. You can see this button over here has pushed up also. So that means that'll work if it becomes unstable. But here we are. So as soon as that whistles, I'll bring you back. Well, there it is. That's what it's supposed to look like. 15 pounds of pressure. It's a pretty big piece of meat, so I've actually set it for 25 minutes to let that steam before I throw in my carrots and potatoes and onions. Love my carrots. Love my onions too. Now you can't smell it, but the smell that's coming out of that pot is unbelievable. Okay, it has been 25 minutes. So that means it's time to check the roast. Turn the heat off. Now the proper way to check this is to just leave it alone now and let it sit there all by itself until this lock button will go back down all by itself, and that means the pressure is completely released out of that pot. I do it this way only because I'm impatient. But that's not really the way to do it. But it is faster. Especially right now because I'm only checking the pot. I'm checking the meat, make sure it's where I want it. And if it is, then I will drop in the potatoes, carrots, and onions. With any luck, my carrots will come out with still a little bit of crisp to them. I don't like them completely thoroughly cooked. So, and I might be changing my mind on this meal. I'm thinking as I'm sitting here, maybe I just want potatoes smashed out with a whole bunch of butter on them, salt and pepper. Carrots the same way. So I got a feeling I might be switching from a stew to just a plain old potatoes and deer steak meal. See, right now she's almost done, but not yet, because that still hasn't gone down, and neither has that one. Now this is dropped. That'll stay down now too. So now, and then you can pull this off just for double check. Now everything is good to go. So let's look inside the pot and see what we come up with. Ooh, smells good. It's hot. I gotta get a pot handle. I guess a glove will work, don't you think? I want to be able to tilt this up. Maybe you can see in there. So it's still, see, it's soft, it's cooked, everything is good to go. Let me just poke it with a knife. Yeah, it's soft. It's not falling apart yet, but it will, because now we're going to throw the potatoes in there. I am going to toss in just a little bit more water. We don't want to run out of water at this point. I'm going to tuck the potatoes down there in the bottom, put them in whole, because they cook fairly quick compared to everything else. 4 carrots and 1 big onion. I know you can't see in there, but right at the level of that water is a mark. That's the level of your water, and this is a second mark. You never want your food above that second mark. And then from here, you put the lid back on. I am going to put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in there. Just so it cooks into everything. And for right now, I'm going to hold off on the Lipton soup mix. A little more salt. Lots of potatoes in there, so I'm going to drop in some pepper. Give that a little stir. Now this time I'm going to put it on for probably 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and then I'm going to check it. And the reason I'm going to check it is because I don't like my food to get mushy. So you don't want to, at this point, the meat's all right. The meat will just keep tenderizing. But as far as the potatoes and the carrots and all of that, I don't want that stuff to get mushy. This is the book that comes with the canner. There's recipes in there for everything and times, all kinds of recipes, how to use it, where to get parts. The only part you need to replace every once in a while is the gasket. And that shouldn't, I've only replaced one in all the years I've been cooking with them. And that's because I tore it, it was stuck and I pulled it. It smells great. Watching this butter melt makes me want to have it in a different way. So I brought out a slotted spoon. And I'm going to scoop the stuff out of there and I'm going to throw it in a plate. Smash down the potatoes, throw on some melted butter. Little salt and pepper. Oh, so good. It smells good. You guys can't believe how good that smells. You can't believe how good that smells. This is in case the neighbors show up and want to take my supper. Not happening. Pressure's all released. Well, let's just see. It's been about 12 minutes. I just want to pull it off while everything looks cooked. As long as the carrots are good. Carrots are good. Where's the potatoes? Yep. Well, that one. Guess I should have. I got one that's cooked really good. The other one could stand some more time. Guess I should have. I think what I'll do is scoop out and turn the thing back on. Leave that potato in there. So we'll get my thing down here. See if you can. If I get my glove, you can look in the pot. So I should have cut that big potato in half. But everything else is great, so I'm just going to pull stuff out other than the meat, take out what I want for meat. Like I said, you can't overdo the meat anyways. Pull out some carrots. And look at that. That will cut with a butter knife. I want to get out most of my carrots. I don't want them any softer. When I'm going to cook that potato just a little bit more. There's a few in there, but not many. Well, now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, aren't we? Having supper out here on the front porch. I just got a text. I would bet dollars to donuts that it's Jeffrey in Pennsylvania. If it's not Jeffrey, This is the supper that I am cooking that I sent you a picture of. It's not you. Oh well, Jeffrey, you're going to have to be eating alone tonight. If you guys were watching this, this is what camp cooking is. My goodness. You see that meat? That stuff will just fall apart. See that? And pull it right off. And that is the toughest cut on a deer leg you can find. A little bit of salt and pepper. You know, I was gonna put some butter on those carrots and onions, but they don't need it. My goodness, is that good. That bigger potato's still in there cooking. Then we take it out here another minute. But we'll put a little butter and salt and pepper on this potato here. What a meal. I love carrots and onions. Very few meals get eaten up here at the cabin. Dog's getting old, she just fell down. But my goodness, that stuff is good. Well, this is where I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this cooking video. It'll probably be a long one. We'll see how it goes. Well, here's to living free, living happy, and see what happens tomorrow out on the lake. So you guys have a sip of coffee with me on your way out. I'm going to enjoy my supper, and I will see you next week.